The courage to show up, how presence unlocks possibility. Have you ever noticed how the universe seems to reward the brave act of simply showing up? Not the perfect showing up, not the fully prepared showing up, just the raw, honest, here I am with all my doubts showing up. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Randi Carter, whose transformative insights on the power of presence have fundamentally altered my understanding of what it means to truly show up for ourselves. Randi isn't just a thought leader, she's a force of nature who has helped countless women, particularly women of color, reclaim their power through the simple yet revolutionary act of showing up authentically. Her wisdom forms the foundation of everything I'm sharing with you today. The truth is, most of us are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel worthy, waiting for that mythical, perfect moment when the stars align and the universe whispers, now, now you can begin. But what if I told you that the waiting itself is the greatest barrier between you and everything you've been praying for? When I spoke with Randi Carter, one thing became crystal clear: showing up consistently, especially when you don't feel like it, when you're bone tired, when fear is screaming in your ear, when your bank account is laughing at your dreams, is the foundation that unlocks opportunities already waiting for you. Let me say that again because it's worth repeating. The opportunities are already waiting. The support is already arranged, but they remain invisible until you take that first brave, trembling step forward. I'm reminded of Randy Gamble, who grew up in South Carolina's Gullah community, a culture steeped in resilience and history that dates back to enslaved West Africans who maintained their cultural heritage against impossible odds. For over 20 years, Randy has been building vibrant fitness communities that empower others through health and movement. But her journey wasn't without obstacles that would have stopped many of us in our tracks. As a Black woman entrepreneur in fitness, a field where representation has historically been as rare as unicorns, Randy faced systemic barriers that seemed designed to make her fail. There were days when exhaustion wasn't just a feeling, but seemed like her permanent address. Moments when doubt wasn't just a visitor, but a roommate who refused to pay rent. Times when uncertainty didn't just cloud the path forward, but seemed to erase it entirely. But here's what made all the difference: she showed up anyway. When fatigue settled into her bones like an unwelcome guest, she led her classes. When doubt whispered that she wasn't enough, wasn't qualified enough, wasn't connected enough, wasn't whatever enough, she invested energy into uplifting others. When personal struggles threatened to derail her mission, she leveraged her heritage not as a limitation, but as her greatest strength. The result? Randy became renowned for her passion and ability to build communities centered on wellness. Her work has inspired countless individuals, especially Black women, to prioritize their health by simply starting where they are, not where they wish they were, not where society says they should be, but exactly where they are: messy, imperfect, and gloriously human. This is the first truth I want you to absorb today. Showing up consistently creates patterns of success that were arranged long before you arrived. Your presence activates what was already waiting. It's like turning on a light in a room that was already furnished. Suddenly, you can see what was there all along. But there's more to this story. Consider Randy Zuckerberg. Yes, from that Zuckerberg family. She began her career supporting family ventures before joining Facebook early on at her brother Mark's urging. By conventional standards, she had made it among the first dozen employees at what would become one of the world's most influential companies. Her business card alone could open doors that most of us couldn't even find. And yet, despite professional success that would make most LinkedIn profiles weep with envy, something essential was missing. The demanding culture left little room for her personal passions. Creative fulfillment felt increasingly distant, like trying to remember a dream upon waking. The path of security beckoned her to stay put, to be grateful for her golden handcuffs, to settle for good enough. But Randy refused to settle for crumbs when she was hungry for a feast. After 6 years, she chose courage over certainty, leaving Silicon Valley behind to start Zuckerberg Media, a company focused on creative production work more closely aligned with her heart's calling. She authored children's books promoting tech literacy among girls, produced television shows spotlighting entrepreneurship, and even fulfilled her lifelong dream of performing on Broadway. Now, I don't know about you, but when I heard this story, I couldn't help but think how many of us are sitting in our comfortable cages, too afraid to reach for the key that's hanging right there. This brings me to the second truth Randi Carter emphasized in our conversation. There is always unseen support ready to meet us on our journey when we take that first step and show up authentically as ourselves, not as who we think we should be. We activate networks of encouragement and assistance that help propel us toward our goals. The support exists, but it cannot find you if you're hiding. Now, I want to speak directly to the young and single mothers listening right now, those who feel the weight of responsibility pressing down so heavily that dreams seem like luxury items you can't afford. Those who've been told, explicitly or implicitly, that your ambition should take a permanent backseat to everyone else's needs. Your story isn't over yet, not by a long shot. Settling or accepting less than you deserve because of your current circumstances is not an option. There's power in persistence and self belief, even when you're at your lowest point, even when you're serving dinner from the dollar menu, even when you're answering emails during your child's soccer practice. And every time you show up with intention, you're taking ownership of your narrative. I'm thinking about a powerful example I encountered while preparing for my conversation with Randi Carter. A business coach documented helping a woman entrepreneur achieve significant financial breakthroughs during intensive coaching sessions. This client, like many single mothers navigating entrepreneurship solo, struggled with undercharging clients out of fear and self doubt. The pressures of balancing motherhood and career had convinced her to shrink her worth, to apologize for her prices, to be grateful for whatever scraps fell from the table. Through committed mentorship, emphasizing showing up fully, even amidst exhaustion and confusion that felt like permanent companions, she learned practical ways to reclaim her confidence and demand greater value without apology. Strategic planning replaced survival mode thinking, enabling sustainable growth beyond the limitations set by her circumstances alone. The outcome, record revenue months and a renewed vision of what was possible, both professionally and personally. But more importantly, her children witnessed their mother refusing to settle, refusing to shrink, refusing to accept the narrative that her dreams had an expiration date. Many women enter business carrying generational narratives about scarcity and sacrifice, stories passed down like unwanted heirlooms. But this partnership proved that consistent presence plus faith can rewrite those scripts entirely through supportive networks that activate once someone dares to step forward honestly about their needs goals, and dreams. This is the third truth Randi Carter shared. Refusing to settle, especially for young and single mothers, is not just an act of self respect, it's an act of revolution. When you show up fully as yourself, you're not just changing your story, you're changing the narrative for every woman who comes after you. You're creating a new possibility model that says this is what courage looks like. This is what refusing to settle looks like. This is what believing in your worth looks like. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds nice, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know how tired I am. You don't know how many times I've tried and failed. You don't know how empty my tank is. You're right. I don't know your specific journey, but what I do know is this: the universe has a peculiar way of meeting preparation with opportunity. And sometimes preparation simply means showing up consistently until the opportunity reveals itself. Think about it this way: have you ever noticed how when you finally commit to something, really commit, not just wishful thinking, suddenly resources appear that you didn't know existed? People offer help you didn't ask for, doors open that you didn't even knock on. That's not coincidence. That's not luck. That's the power of presence. When you show up with intention, you send a signal to the universe that says, I'm serious about this. I'm ready for what comes next. And the universe responds accordingly. But here's the catch, and it's an important one. You have to show up before you feel ready, before the confidence arrives, before the resources are guaranteed, before the path is clear. You have to show up in the messy middle of your doubt, your fear, your exhaustion, because that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. That's where you discover strengths you didn't know you possessed and support you didn't know was available. So here's my challenge to you. Inspired directly by my conversation with Randi Carter and the powerful examples of women like Randy Gamble and Randy Zuckerberg. Stop waiting for permission to begin your life. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions to pursue your dreams. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth. The world doesn't need your perfection, it needs your presence. Your children don't need a superhero. They need you, authentic, trying, sometimes failing, always getting back up. Your dreams don't need ideal conditions, they need your consistent attention and action. I want you to leave here today with this truth burning in your heart. You are not the sum of your circumstances. You are not defined by your struggles. You are not limited by your past. You are defined by your courage to show up day after day, even when, especially when it's hard. So, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I want you to ask yourself, what would I do today if I truly believed that everything I need is already waiting for me? What would I reach for if I trusted that support would meet me halfway? And then I want you to show up for that vision, not perfectly, not flawlessly, just honestly, vulnerably, and completely. Because the life you want, the impact you're meant to have, the joy you deserve, it's all waiting for you on the other side of showing up. The question is, will you answer the call?